In today's video, we're going to be discussing, is ECODIESEL a good engine? Is it a good engine for your truck? Let's get into it. Alright, so let's jump right into this video. So for starters, you guys can probably see that I am a Mopar enthusiast at this point. I like all brands, but it seems like on this channel we do a lot of Mopar related things. So staying on topic with the ECODIESEL, this is a 2016 ECODIESEL. We purchased this truck with a blown engine, and I believe it was on its second engine to begin with. So this might be its third engine. Again, I'm not sure on the exact history on this truck. This is a Laramie truck that we ended up putting kind of a sport package on it and making it look a little bit more sporty, but this thing had a ton of chrome on it originally. But besides the point, I believe this to be the third engine on this truck. When we got this truck, it had 117,000 miles. Now it has about 134. So the new engine's been working really good. As far as power, it's been working awesome. We've been towing a 24-foot trailer, which I'll show you guys in just a second. I would estimate that we were probably been pulling around 8,000 pounds or so. This has a 355 gear ratio, so I think the tow rating on this is about 8,900, so kind of right around there. But I mean, as far as power going, towing that big trailer through mountains and hills, it sits around 2,000 RPM. You start getting into some grades, it might kick down to about 3,000, but overall you can pretty much maintain speed holding it at 2,000 RPM, and the truck seems to be happy. Let me go over some of the things that I've noticed so far, and I'll talk about DEF fluid consumption and how that's all going. All right, so we'll hop in here quickly. So if we power up our truck here, I want to show you guys our DEF fluid gauge over here. So you can see here, it is pretty well full. I had this full. I went all the way to Kentucky from the West Coast, from California, and then all the way back towing a trailer. And all I did was dump in one of those 2.5 gallon jugs, and it filled it right back to where you see it. It was just above halfway, and one of those 2.5 gallon jugs are like 15 bucks a pop. Dumped it in, and now we're right back at full. So it's not that bad at all on the DEF fluid. I know some guys worry about this being a headache, and this is just my honest opinion and experience with it. As far as fuel, I can't really give you a good gauge on here because we were just towing the trailer. I was getting just over in and around 300 miles to a tank towing, and this thing does not have the large fuel tank in it. I was usually getting I don't know, just under a quarter tank, and I would put about 22 gallons in it. So this does not have a large fuel tank in it, and I'm getting around I was getting around 300 miles. I was averaging anywhere from 14 to 16 miles per gallon towing a huge 24-foot enclosed trailer. So that's pretty much that aspect of it. Unloaded, I can get anywhere from 25 to 30 miles per gallon, usually just driving normal on the freeway. In and around town, I'm about 22 miles per gallon, just city driving, stop and go. So this thing is extremely good on fuel, which is probably one of the reasons you're here on this video, and one of the biggest selling points of running one of these engines. If you're like me and you only had a gas vehicle, this will look new to you. Here's where your DEF fluid goes, right there, and your diesel fuel obviously goes here. Another thing is, you'll notice this knob here doesn't have a gear selector on the column. Some guys hate that. I've gotten used to it. This is my third truck with this rotary style knob for the transmission. You can only get these with the 8-speed as of the making of this video, so just know that you're gonna have this gear selector, at least in the Ram truck, if you end up getting the ECODIESEL. Here's under the hood. I don't have like that piece of plastic here right now because we were doing some stuff with the grill, and I also don't have the engine cover on it. Few things about that. There is a ton of insulation on this thing, so to the point where this engine is extremely quiet. I'll start it up for you guys in just a second. And again, I don't have the actual cover on it, which is over here. That's what that weird thing looks like. but the amount of insulation, it's got foam insulation here, another big piece of foam insulation there. The front cover that goes over your lower pulley has a big piece of foam in it, and also over your pump, your fuel pump here, it's got another piece of foam with a cover on it to quieten everything down. Some guys, like to take all that stuff off so it doesn't hold as much heat in the engine, but just something to note. Another thing here on the coolant, I've filled it up here. It seems to like to sit around this line, right around this cold fill line here. If you put any more in it, it's likely just to kind of push it out of the overflow. So this seems to be where it's happy. It keeps leveling off right there, and I haven't had to touch it. Everything's good to go. Other thing too is with getting the factory Mopar engine, all the revisions are done, so it's got the latest EGR and all that, because I know it was a recall on these, but this thing has everything up to date and I've had no issues. So we'll start it up real quick and you guys can hear what this thing sounds like with the hood up and hood closed. So here we are from inside. Hit the start button. So extremely quiet, you guys. I doubt you can hear anything from in here, so let's go outside. Still very quiet. That's what she sounds like with the hood open. Here's what it sounds like with the hood closed. Super quiet. All right, now as far as oil changes go, this is where things start to get a little bit different. The service interval recommended, I believe, is 10,000 miles. For some diesels, conventionally, some guys might end up trying to, go that far with the mileage. Me personally, it's just my own opinion. I still change it at 5,000, running a full synthetic. The recommended fill is actually Rotella synthetic, so that's what I've been running in it. And I'm just changing it at 5,000. It does use more oil than a normal engine, so you end up using one of those 2.5 gallon jugs to replace the oil, and it actually takes sometimes a little bit more than that just to top it up. So you're gonna go through one of those massive jugs, but right now, as of the making of this video, you can get one of those 2.5 gallon jugs of Rotella from Walmart for $56. And like I said, 5,000 miles. The amount of money that I'm saving on fuel more than covers it, and then you get your oil filter as well in that. So for me, it's justified. I would just change it at 5,000 rather than try to stretch it out. A lot of the failures on these engines are the main bearings end up going out, so some sort of lubrication issue. So a lot of guys are saying, and this is, I'm just repeating this stuff, but that there ends up being a lot of contamination in the oil, namely diesel fuel and carbon and soot that gets into the oil from whatever programming are on these trucks from the factory, and it ends up getting into the oil, contaminating it, and then it ends up chewing out your main bearings. So that seems to be the case on the last engine that we took out, so I don't want it to happen to this one, so I'm just changing it far sooner than what's recommended, but I'll leave that up to you guys. But overall, it looks like I've put about 17,000 miles on this truck with the new engine. So far, so good. Only one thing is, if you guys saw my video the other day, the oil pan on these trucks and the front timing cover, it's sealed without a gasket. It is just RTV. So it seems that whoever installed the RTV seal from the factory on my specific truck didn't do the greatest job, and it looks like I have a bit of an oil leak. Nothing serious, but you can kind of see it just a little bit wet around the oil pan area on my truck. So I gotta go get that figured out, but it's still running, still driving, still operating. It's just something that I have to attend to. So if anything else comes up, I'll definitely let you guys know. But like I said, good fuel economy, good power for towing. I can show you guys quickly my trailer before we wrap up. Here's a 24-foot enclosed trailer. This thing is a beast, so we've been hauling vehicles in this, and it's towing it no problem as well. But that's my honest opinion on this truck so far, you guys. So far it's been a decent experience. I'll update you guys as my ownership continues on one of these vehicles. But if you guys have any questions, ask down below. I'd be happy to answer them. Or usually there's other people that can chime in as well. And we'll see you guys on the next video. Don't forget to give this a thumbs up, subscribe for more content, and see you on the next one.